I put it this way. If we're about winning, then Will Howard is the winner here, okay? Will Howard has won more Power 4 conference championships than Ohio State has in the last 3 years. He's also won a Big 12 championship, which Dillon Gabriel did not do. He also unseated an undefeated Texas Christian by himself, if we're being honest about this, in a Big 12 championship. I don't think that he was really threatened by Avery Johnson. I think they knew what they had, and if something should happen, you're probably gonna go to that. But I saw Will Howard against Texas, and I didn't see anything that I didn't like. I think you're seeing a lot of folks that are down on Will Howard ain't watched Big 12 football last year, and that is what it is, right? Whatever. You just don't like watching Big 12 football or didn't watch a lot of Kansas State. But I have, and I've seen his skill set, and I want to say that dude was majoring in finance or accounting before he got to Ohio State. So he's a very smart man on top of all of this, right? For Dillon Gabriel, I've been loud about this. If he has the kind of season plus 200 yards that Bo Nix had last year, he will leave this sport as the all-time leading passer. He will surpass Case Keenum and that number 1 overall total. And all he's got to do is go for 4,300 pass yards, 40 TDs, 3 picks or fewer, and do what Bo Nix couldn't do, win a Power 4 championship. I think that Gabriel has the most to lose on this because if for whatever reason you get the hook for Dante Moore, we know that it has gone bad in a way that Oregon fans ain't ready for. Will Howard, on the other hand, you're coming in this on a 50-50, right? You may end up leaving campus to starter. 6 weeks in, are you still going to be that guy? November, are you still going to be that guy? And if you're not, does it shock us? No. Can you transfer again? I don't know. Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. But I think that he's got the most to gain, and I think Dillon Gabriel has the most to lose because we've already set the expectation. Like Dillon Gabriel is getting Heisman odds that are ridiculous. Will Howard, I think you can get the same money for him that you get for Travis Hunter, right? Which is to say, a quarterback's probably going to win this award, but if we give you the same odds, we give a guy going both ways on a team that went 4-8, that's how much faith we have in you as a starting quarterback. And Will Howard should use that to the best of his ability to go play well. I want to switch topics real quick and go to the guy that we most want to see play, who has not played a down of college football, and his name for the first time is not Arch Manning. It is Jeremiah Smith. I'm curious what you have heard about this really great wide receiver and what you are willing to believe and what you're not ready to commit to.
Okay, well, before I answer that, you have to tell the viewers this. How good is Jeremiah Smith in this video game that I know you've toyed around with and played with? And let's start there.
So he's got an 80 overall rating when you start the game in, play now or dynasty mode, which is not too shabby, right? Or 84. He's up there. So he's already really good. He's being treated like a number 1 overall wide receiver or a number 1 overall player in the class. But in Ultimate Team is what I was talking about, and that's a totally different mode. I haven't got him in Ultimate Team. I'm sure that when I get him in Ultimate Team, I'm going to find out. But for perspective here, Quinshon Judkins is the most dominant player in player versus player Ultimate Team. If you got him, you're running Wildcat. You're running Wildcat because he's just that good. I don't know that they're going to give Jeremiah Smith that without, showing something in Big Ten play. But I think he is being touted like we expect him to be really great this year. That's a long-winded way of answering your question? Yeah. Okay.
I really do. I think that with Emeka Egbuka firmly entrenched as their number 1 and Carnell Tate probably at number 2, I could see him pushing for that 3rd receiver spot, by the midway point of the season. I know Brandon Inniss is there. I know Mylan Graham is another 5-star that they've got. That's going to be a freshman and wasn't there in the spring, but he's going to arrive and be part of this. But gosh, I mean, the thing about Jeremiah Smith that just stays with me is he's every bit of like 6'4", 215 pounds. So like, he's not an 18-year-old with an 18-year-old's body trying to adjust to life at Ohio State. He has a NFL number 1 sized body and the skills of somebody who is much more talented than an 18-year-old. So I think it's going to be impossible to keep him off the field. I think he's going to be such a matchup nightmare that he's going to have a really good season. Now, does that mean 1,000 yards? Probably not. But if he gets 300, 400, 500 yards, I would not be surprised because I just think he's that good. And when Ryan Day was at Big Ten Media Days, off the podium talking at one of the smaller stages, he was asked about it, and he literally he said. He's like, I got to catch myself. He's like, I don't want to get too far ahead on this kid's career. We know what he is. We know what he think he can be, but he's a freshman, and I don't want to say anything that will be held against me or used against me or whatever. But like, if Ryan Day, who has seen all the first round receivers that he's seen, is like approaching it in that way, you know this kid is special. And I just think he's going to be a tremendous, tremendous player. And I'm absolutely fascinated to see what it looks like on the field.
I think he has the potential to be what Trayon Henderson was when he first got to Ohio State. I mean, you could see it almost immediately, right? The speed, the way in which he could move. His thing was being injured, right? That his thing is, can you be healthy for a whole year? It's kind of like what I would have to say about Quinn Ewers. But that is the plane that I put him on. I know that there's lots of comparisons to Marvin Harrison Jr. because of what he did last year, the last 2 years, or even Jackson and Smith and Jigba. But I think if you are looking for a good comp and you really want to put your feet down, you put him down where Trayon Henderson was. Like when he was coming out of Hopewell, I was telling anybody that would listen, that guy and the guy over in Napa Valley, those are the guys. Those are the ones you want. Napa Valley turns out to be who I thought, right? Who we all thought. Trey still got just a little bit to go there because you're entering a year in which, if I'm being honest, I didn't expect you to be at Ohio State. I expect you to be in the NFL. And you're probably going to start behind Quinshon Judkins, and you have something to prove to the new running backs coach, that is Carlos Lachlan, right? He's going to play the guy that he thinks is best, and if he thinks that Quinshon is best, that means that you're going to be the spell guy. But we saw it last year, especially against Notre Dame. He's a home run hitter, right? I think that's what you could get out of Jeremiah Smith. It's just about how it shows up. And not for nothing, it ain't C.J. Stroud throwing him passes, as we alluded to. It's going to be Will Howard or Julian Sand or Aaron Nolan or Devin Brown. I don't think it's going to be Lincoln Kingholz. Like, I'm sure Lincoln Kingholz and his people believe, they appreciate you, Mike, for bringing him up here. But I watch Cotton Bowl. You watch Cotton Bowl. At this point, you kind of let that dude be an Ohio State Buckeye at this point. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he pops back up at wide receiver. I don't know. But to your point about the depth they have, I think you're going to see that on display. And that's the reason I picked them. I picked them because they are desperate, right? That's why I picked them to win the national championship. They are desperate. They must win. And that sucks. That really sucks. Like, you feel up against the wall. I want Ryan Day to win one so he can walk off. I want him to be able to just kind of be like, cool, I finished. I got my national championship. But I can't take this no more. This is just too much stress. 56-8 here. People want to get me fired. What are we doing? But no, I think you're right on the money with Jeremiah Smith, and as far as acknowledging his size and acknowledging how Ryan Day is choosing to talk about him. Michael Cohen covers the Big Ten for Fox Sports. College basketball, football, this is your man. Mike, let's do this again very soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, buddy. Always a pleasure.